Wow, I'm really giving lumberjack today. Anyways, I'm here to talk shit. So, worst books of 2021. Not books that came out in 2021, but books that I read in 2021. I have a few. For the most part, my reading has been pretty great this year. Lots of 3 stars, but that's fine. But I did read a few books that really ground my gears, if I can say. So let's just hop into it. I guess disclaimer. If you like these books, that's fine. That's fine. You know, the beauty of reading and books is that everyone has their own tastes and has their own ideas of what's good and what's bad. This didn't work for me, okay? And I will go into detail as to why.
I could go into heavy detail, and I will go into heavy detail.
But it's chill. We're easy breezy, beautiful cover girl here, okay? If you like these books, don't get mad. Let's keep it chill. You know what I'm saying? Book number 1. I'm already starting off controversial. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This book was not giving in the way that everyone seemed to think that it gave, in my opinion. We have Lucy. And we have Joshy boy. They are working at a company. And they're rivals. They're workplace enemies. And there's something about consolidation. Someone's going to get fired. They have some sort of bet about, it's not going to be me. Oh, it's not going to be me. And really, that is the plot. They hate each other, allegedly. And they end up together at the end of the book, as you can imagine. It is a romance. My first gripe, not super a big deal, but my first gripe is that it was only one POV. We're just following Lucy. And I've come to realize in all of my romance reading days that I prefer dual POV romances. The one POV doesn't usually do it for me, although I will say I did love People We Meet on Vacation, and that was only one point of view. But for the most part, I'm a dual POV gal, and I feel like it was lacking because we didn't have Josh's perspective. Number 2, perhaps my biggest reason why this book didn't work for me, was the enemies to lovers aspect of this book. Number 1, I know it's a book. I know it's not supposed to be super realistic, but these office place like enemies to lovers, they just don't really work for me because it's so unprofessional and so unrealistic. It was making me want to gag. They were acting so childishly, so pettily, and I was like, there's no way people are just like allowing this to happen. Like, someone would have been fired by now. I don't know. That's just my opinion. And it's very clear that they didn't actually hate each other, okay? They were kindergartners who didn't know how to express their feelings, and so they picked on each other. That's essentially what was happening, and it was just so frustrating to read. Also, everyone seems to think that the fact that Josh painted his room blue because it was the color of Lucy's eyes was cute. That's weird. That's weird, man. I don't know. That's kind of creepy. That just is weird to me. And this book was just not it. I just did not like this book. I will be watching the movie, best believe. You're probably like, why? I don't know. But this book was not it for me, unfortunately. If it worked for you, I'm happy. But I am unhappy personally because I was like really looking forward to it because it was getting so much hype, and I hated it. You know, I was experiencing the hating game in me hating this book. That was a bad pun. Let's move along. The Girl on the Train. My first thriller taste test was reading like super uber popular thrillers that came out like within the last decade or so. And the girl on the train was super popular. I mean, if you go into any used bookstore, you will see 5 million trillion copies of this book. I actually had gotten it originally from Goodwill, and then I immediately donated it back to Goodwill after I read it because I was like, I do not want this book on my shelves. We're following this woman who thinks that she witnesses something on the train. Okay, so her train like frequently will make a stop, like a halt, and right in front of these like houses or townhouses, and she'll like always look up and see this couple that she like is like idolizing in her head. She's like made up names for them and is like, wow, look at them. And she thinks she witnesses something, or she does witness something, and then later on the woman of the couple is dead, and she is just decided that she is going to solve the case for whatever reason. And it was bizarre. She's an unreliable narrator. We're told that she has drinking problems. She like blacks out. I don't think that this conversation about alcoholism was like handled well or delicately. It felt very weird. This is like kind of the beginning of my inkling that maybe I just like don't vibe with UK British books. I don't know. Like I feel like the humor and just like the general attitudes feels a lot different, which, I mean, it is a different country, but not that Americans don't, talk about alcoholism in a bad way, but it just felt really weird to me. And she was constantly like talking about how fat she was and what a schlub. It was too much. And I just like the same like beats were happening over and over again. She goes to try to solve something, blah, blah, blah. She drinks, she blacks out. Something happened, and she's like, ah, shit, I gotta get my shit together. It was just a hot mess. It was not very pleasant to read, and the ending was stupid. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And, that's that on that. Then we have a book that I will say initially I was having a good time reading, and that is Crave by Tracy Wolff. I was listening to the audiobook of this on a whim. I didn't think I was like gonna like this book, but I thought, I'm gonna have a fun time. It's a paranormal romance. Like, why wouldn't I have a fun time? And for the first, let's say 40% of this book, I was having a good time. I was like, this shit is ridiculous, and I'm here for it. It's very clear from the cover, as you can see, that it's like inspired by Twilight, if you will. And I was like, oh, you know what? This is better than Twilight, which is not particularly hard. But then it took a real whack route. I was like, I don't know what's going on. This book was long for what reason? Nothing happened. This girl, it's very clear. Okay, let me back up and tell you what this book is about. Okay, so the description doesn't say what this girl's name is, so she's just gonna be girl, okay? And, oh my god, I just remembered the love interest is this guy named Jackson with an X. And that is burned into my memory because I just think that's such a stupid name. Sorry to the Jacksons out there. But the X just really killed me. He's a vampire. Okay, girl, parents die, of course. She goes to live with her uncle and her cousin. Her uncle is the headmaster of this boarding school in Alaska. Okay, weird. She goes to this school, and things are a bit weird. Little wacky, silly, goofy, okay? It's very clear from the jump, especially for the audience, that this is like a magic school, okay? We got people, vampires, we got werewolves, we got dragons, human dragons, and this girl is dense as fuck. It is not until like 65% of the way of this book that she finally figures out that Jackson is a vampire and that there's other things going on in the school. It is truly, I was yelling, screaming, crying, and throwing up at this book as I was listening to it because I'm like, wake up and smell the coffee. How come you're not figuring this out? It's so obvious right now. Anyway, it was just really dumb after that. Like, I was enjoying it, and then it was just very repetitive. It was long. It didn't need to be that long. It ended very weirdly. I didn't really understand what was going on. Maybe because I was listening to it on 3 times the speed, because I just wanted it to be over with. You're probably wondering, Jamila, why didn't you just DNF it? But I was committed to the cause, especially because it took so long for her to figure out what was going on. And I at least needed to get to that point. And then by the time I was there, it was already like 2/3 of the way done with this book. So I have to continue reading. And it was just dumb. That's all I can really say. I'm not going to read the next book. They're so long. Is this not being edited? I don't understand what's going on. I don't think the author understands what's going on either. So let's talk about the Xhacks. Another popular one that came out this year. And, again, I don't think it was giving what it was supposed to give. We're following some witches. Fun. This book was supposed to be like Halloween Town vibes. We're following Vivian, who had like this quick but intense summer fling with this dude named Reese when they were in college. We have like 9 years or something pass. They broke up. He broke up with her after telling her like, oh, haha, I'm secretly engaged. And she's like, fuck you, and put a curse on him, not thinking that it would actually like take. And so time passes, and Reese is coming back into this town because his family like founded this town in Georgia. He's also from like Wales or something like that. Anyways, he comes back to charge the ley lines. It's also like Founders Day or something, so he's gonna do a quick hello. And when he steps foot back into town, the curse takes, and he is plagued by a series of unfortunate events. He goes to try to charge the ley lines, but because of this curse, the curse transfers into the ley lines, so magic is just like wreaking havoc across this town, and Vivian and Reese have to figure out how to stop this. And in the process, you know, rekindle their relationship. And it just, I was very bored reading this book. Something about it was just not clicking, especially from the beginning. It took me so long just to read like the first 100 pages of this book, like 3 or 4 days, because it was not really clicking with me. And then there's this one scene. If you watched my witchy reading vlog, you'll know what I'm talking about. Spoilers, I guess. But they get back together, okay? And we see that they get back together next chapter. It's been a week, and they've been having a great time being back together, but they have not done anything to fix the ley lines. They've just been fucking around this whole week, even though there's like a deadline where something is going to happen if they don't fix things by this time, okay? And it was just so stupid. And I was so angry. I literally audibly went, what? What? How does that make any sense? It didn't make any sense to me. And here's the thing. Okay, I know this is primarily a romance book. The world building doesn't really matter. I know that. But there was just like stuff that just, it was not making sense to me. How like the magic was working. How this, none of it was making any sense. And again, I understand that's not the point of the book. But it was just so glaringly in my face. And I was like, I don't like this. And none of the side characters really had like a lot of time to shine. I don't really know what was motivating Vivian and Reese. They didn't have like any respective like individual plot lines outside of their romance. And I didn't care about these characters. It just didn't, I don't know, you know? Anyways, we're down to my top 2 worst books. This wasn't in any particular order, but I did save my 2 worst books for the end. Let's just get into it. I will be probably very ranty at this point. Sweetest Oblivion by Danielle Laurie. This is like a dark romance, mafia romance. We have this chick named Elena. She's called the Sweet Abelli because she's like so nice and sweet. She's the daughter of this mafia dude. Then there's this other mafia dude named Nico. Uh, bad guy. Bad guy. Oh, very hot, apparently. And he's supposed to marry her sister, her younger sister. She's like 21, and her younger sister's like maybe 18, and Nico's like 30. So already I'm like, all right, wild age gap. He's supposed to marry her sister, to bring these like families together, whatever. Here's the thing about me, and maybe this is like, dark romances are just not for me. I cannot stand the disrespect, okay? The disrespect is just not something I can stand. The way this man treated this girl, and she just thought she was fighting back, but not really. And I was just like, I'm gonna lose my mind. There was one point in this book where I almost threw my iPad across the room. Like, dead ass, okay? This man, keep in mind, like I said, he's currently engaged to her sister, sees Elena talking to another man. And he pushes her into a pool to stop her from talking to another man.
Oh, hell no!
No. See, a chair would have been broken over his head if it was me. Just saying. In case, like, bar admissions people are, like, watching this is a joke. I don't believe in violence. But, no, the disrespect was just disrespecting me, okay? And I just couldn't stand it. It was so... This book was, like, so misogynistic. I don't know if that's just, like, a genre trait of mafia romances, but I truly was losing my mind. And after all this suffering I did reading this book, I found out that the author is allegedly a Trump supporter. You mean I suffered? I gave money? Granted, it was like $1.99, but I gave money to this woman? Ew! My skin was crawling. You don't even understand. Oh my god, I hated this book. I hated this book. And I'm not gonna lie, I am judging you if you like this book. I know I said easy breezy, beautiful cover girl over here. But I will say, I'm judging you if you like this book. Because, oh my god. And if you want to support a Trump supporter, let me just make my leanings clear. We are anti-Trump here, okay? The next book, one that I also truly hated. Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This book felt like a book that was like a fantasy book written in like the 80s or 90s, okay? One that you might expect it to have its problematic flaws. Not that it's okay, but one that you would come to expect. This book was written in 2017. We're following mainly this dude. He's our main character, and that's another thing. I think it definitely should have been multi-POV. But we have this dude. He was a part of, like, this band of mercenaries who would go after and fight these, like, evil creatures, wreaking havoc across the land. We're in a generic fantasy medieval-like world, okay? And this band has to get back together because one of the band members' daughter decided that she wanted to go, like, fight something. And is being held hostage along with everyone else in this town. Okay. So they have to get back together to go and save her. And just generally, before I go over, like, the problematic stuff, the world building was so severely lacking. It was so generic. Like, this book expects you to just, like, kind of have a general knowledge of, like, your basic medieval European fantasy land, okay? It does not take any energy to try to, like, explain how this world works. We have a bunch of these magical creatures, just, like, random thrown, like some of them are like from fucking D&D, like just all over the place. I don't know why they exist here. I don't know why they're like being hunted. We don't really get any explanation for how this world works at all, okay? Number 2, this book is like advertised as being a comedy fantasy, you know, like we have these old men getting the band back together, okay? Obviously they're not as like hip and, you know, strong as they were in their youth at the heyday of their mercenary band. And so that's going to come with a lot of issues. And like the humor in this book was like middle school boy humor, like fart jokes and like, haha, this magical potion that's like Viagra, haha, and we toss it at our enemies and like, oh, it's really stupid humor. And sure, maybe that works for some people, but it truly did not work for me. And the characters, like I said, this book should have been multi-POV. We're only following this one dude who's like kind of like the straight-laced, boring character of the group. I really would have rather followed anyone else. We don't get any sort of like characterization or character arc. Everyone is very like one-note personality. And then again, we have this dynamic where they have not really like interacted with each other for a long time. The band broke up. And I thought there was going to be some interesting conversations like regarding that, like how these characters have changed over time, like how their motivations have changed, how it's changing as they've gotten back together. I thought there was going to be more conversations about friendship, you know, because I think male friendship is really important. We don't really get much of it besides like dapping up your bro. Okay, I thought they were going to have like some very emotional conversations about male friendship in this. We don't get any of that. We don't get any character arc. Everyone kind of ends the same. Everything like ends very well. Like there are like no consequences in this book. These guys have constantly gotten into mess after mess after mess that they should have died, okay? And someone inevitably comes and saves them every single time. And I'm like, how? No one is facing a lick of consequences here. Now, let's dive into the problematic shit. Number 1, one of the band members, I don't remember anyone's name, and to be honest, I don't care to look this up. One of the band members is described as being a black guy, or at least a biracial black guy. When the band broke up, apparently he got trapped by somebody and has remained like frozen in a statue or something like that for like this whole time that the band has disbarred, like 19 years, okay? And he doesn't wake up until they come and like find him and save him. And it's just, of course, and here's the thing, he's also described like his people were like enslaved or something. I'm like, really? The only black character comes from like slavery, and he was also literally a statue for 19 years. And then he comes back and is described as incredibly aggressive and emotionless. Come on. Why? And then we have another band member who's gay. And he is a wizard or like some sort of like alchemist. And he's supposed to be like top tier alchemist, like one of the best in the land. But this dude messes up every single time, and it's made out to be comedic. This guy is comedic relief. Like, his only character is comedic relief, and he's infantilized so much in this book, and I'm just like, this just feels really, like, why are we infantilizing the gay character? Why is he comedic relief? Like, can we get, like, he can be comedic and also be top tier alchemist. Like, we can have this duality. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And even though we're being told that he's like a great alchemist and a great wizard, he's like, we've never seen him like actually do well. He's constantly messing things up. And I was just so frustrated by that. And again, like I said, all of these characters are very one note. The women are treated so badly in this too. They're either like sluts or whores or nagging or thieves or untrustworthy or needs to be saved. I I was so done with this. Conniving and backs. Like, come on. It's 2017. Ah, my God. It was so frustrating to read. And there's another scene where they're in this forest and they come across, like, what seems to be an illusion of an indigenous or, like, Native American, like, type of tribe. And they're cannibals, and they're like fat and lazy, and they are like don't speak the language well, which obviously they're like a different like group, come from a different culture and have their own language, but they're just made out to be like idiots and dumb. And I'm like, cannibals? That's really racist. Come on. I was just like, do you know it? Like, the problem is like, this feels just like very lazy. Like, I don't know what the author's intentions were. It doesn't feel like it was intentionally written in this way, but it just feels so lazily written. Like, just completely fell into all of these stereotypes of these various marginalized groups and just didn't even bother to question that or like take a look at how you were writing these characters. And it just, I think that almost makes it worse for me, honestly, is that it was so lazily written. Like, you didn't even bother to like maybe reflect on how you were writing some of these marginalized characters. Like, how do you just fall into every single fucking stereotype, you know? All of that, and it was just like poorly written. So I hated this book. I think it's like relatively popular, at least in the fantasy community, which just kind of boggles my mind. But anyways, those were the books that I hated. Overall, though, I had a really good reading year. Unfortunately, as always, there's going to be some duds. So that's that on that. And again, links of various things down below. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.